And playing. Okay, you guys. So we just watched the PlayStation showcase that came out today, September 16th. If my pandemic math works out. Um I imagine we all have opinions and they're all very varied and some of them might even be hostile. Um
I feel like there are
uh
eyes on me, but I'm not sure why.
it's because we're in such high fidelity now. We
Yeah,
we
it's
sound
blowing my
so
mind
good.
apart.
Yeah, we used to
I
sound
just,
like trash, but this is how we sound now.
this is the future.
Yeah, anyway, I'm Scorch. Um, that gentleman that you heard just now was Arcadius, and Vast
Present.
Empires is our lovely list master. But our list today is consisting mostly of the showcase, of which we have many, many opinions. I already said that. Why don't we
Hmm.
jump in with whatever y'all want to talk about?
I was going to say let's completely throw the list out the window for the first couple of minutes because the most important thing, the thing
The
that's
price.
everyone's been talking about, is the
The
price. Let's start there.
price.
All right,
Yeah.
so do we want to recap what our predictions were?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
My
So,
prediction was a $500 digital edition and a $550 CD edition.
okay.
That was mine.
Vast?
Uh, so I've made several predictions all over the place.
Uh-huh.
Make the most recent
I
one.
believe the most I said like 450 for digital, 499 what 500 for the disk drive, but I said that it should be 699 and 550.
Okay. That's on the high end.
Mhm. I think that here's the thing. I think Sony could command the price.
You think so, huh?
They probably could.
Yeah.
All right, Scorch, what was your predictions?
My prediction was 499 for both of them, but if they split the price, they would have it within $100 of each other.
There you go.
So I think we
So
were
on the money.
kind of. I mean, I really would have liked to get the price split, but you can't have everything.
Mhm.
Nope.
You know what I mean? And all things considered, those are pretty good prices for the hardware that were given. And might I add, $399 for the digital edition was the thing I wanted, and I get it cheaper. Fucking score! I'm so happy about
So
that right
yeah,
now.
to put a punctuation on it, the final prices were $399 digital edition, $499 CD drive edition.
Yes, yes.
So I'm shocked. I was not expecting a full $100 spread for essentially the same exact thing, just a CD drive difference.
It's a Blu-ray drive. A Blu-ray drive.
Yeah, but so it's been Blu-ray all the way back to PS3.
It has, but like,
This is
gotta
true.
call it what it is, right? There's a functional difference.
Sure, I do understand there is hardware difference for sure, and maybe a little bit of infrastructure, and obviously the packaging is a little different to accommodate it,
Mm-hmm.
the CD bulge, if you will. But uh, I am just shocked that given Xbox's previous announcement, the full lineup now, in terms of how PlayStation is comparing to Xbox, is starting at the bottom, the Xbox Series S at $299. Then you've got the PlayStation 5 Digital Edition at $399, and
Mhm.
then tag teamed together at the same level is the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 CD drive edition, which that one sort of makes sense as the top tier comparable to the Xbox One. It also has a CD drive, so apples to apples, that one is pretty self-explanatory and obviously makes sense that they're going to try and match the price, so you're only deciding consoles and not the fact that one's more expensive over the other. However, that digital edition, that digital edition,
I think that's gonna
like
make the
Yeah.
difference right there.
I think
It
right there,
is.
that's what's going to bend them over, is the fact that you can get the same exact power and console, minus the CD drive, for $100 less.
Yeah.
Without sacrificing anything, which is the value proposition that you're getting with the Xbox S.
Same exact hardware. So the Cadillac PlayStation and the step-down PlayStation, all the same internals, minus a Blu-ray player. That's it. That is literally, seemingly, right now, as far as the information that's available, the only physical difference.
And I really hope they keep it that way.
I don't see how you could lose in that instance. Like, I expect, I don't know. Okay, so now the next prediction, the next prediction. How many more digital editions do you think they will sell over the drive editions for PS5? Because I already know they're going to sell like hotcakes now. I mean, it's pretty freaking obvious. If the PlayStation and the Xbox were already really comparable in terms of hardware, and one of those comparable editions is $100 less, oh yeah, they're going to be flying off the shelves. So now the prediction is, what do you think is the ratio of digital to drive edition that you think PlayStation will sell in, let's just say, by Christmas time?
By Christmas time. I think that is too small of a window, because I think regardless of edition, it's going to be sold out.
True. So you want to extend the prediction to a year?
Like through
1 year from now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
1 year from this cast. I'm going to stick with 5 to 1.
5 digitals to 1?
5 digitals to 1 hard drive is what I'm thinking.
That's really
It is high.
high.
I'm going to aim high because, think about it, both of these console producers are pushing for a more digitally, what do you call it, adept environment. That's what they're trying to nudge the market towards. So I think the whole reason that this is also $100 cheaper is to help springboard that. So I'm going to go with their mindset that this is going to be an entirely positive move for them. I'm going to go 5 to 1.
What do you think, Vast?
I'm honestly not sure. I believe. I guess because I am already assuming that both versions are going to sell out.
Yeah.
That I'm really
there's
not.
No doubt about that.
I'm really not in the right headspace to figure out which one is going to sell more at launch, if only because the people who are the people who are most excited to purchase a PlayStation right now, PS5 right now, are the people who, they're the early adopters. They're going to get whatever they can, however they can.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
In the future, though, past launch, okay, so I can't really answer this, Arcadius, but here's what I'm going to say. I think that post-launch, they're going to scale back the production of the Drive version, because they'll have the data, like you say, that the digital is outselling it, I think.
Okay.
Therefore, making my prediction a slightly self-fulfilling prophecy, because you won't be able to get as many CD edition PlayStation.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Hopefully that's going to be based on metrics rather than anything else, right?
Yeah, that's like once they get the data in.
Yeah.
I don't think they're just going to end I don't think they're going to end the thing. I just think based on price. I mean, in the console, I just mean based on pricing, they're going to say, like Arcadis is saying, for every 5 digital, 1 is sold. So we'll just scale back production on these, and
not stop,
we'll do
but
2 million.
but
scale back.
Yeah.
So we'll
that.
Sell 2 million of the, we'll have 2 million sales of the digital for Q2 2021, and we'll have 1 million of the drive. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Am I saying 2 to 1? 2 to 1.
You said...
I went around the world. 2 to 1.
So, all right. What you got, Scorch?
That's me left. As a person who for years and years have asked on our podcast, when are they going to strip out the optical drive And yeah, I'm on record saying get rid of that thing. And I've only ever played digital except for Battlefield 4 because that was what came with my PlayStation. I'm going to go in a different direction. It's going to be surprising as shit, but I think that the optical drive version, the one with the Blu-ray player in it, is going to outpace the digital one. It's probably, I want to say that it's going to sell 3 for every 2 digitals.
Ooh,
it's going to be close. Okay. It's going to be closer. But one of the things that I'm going to have to factor in, and one of the things that I am factoring in right now, is that in order for the digital edition to truly take off the way that I want it to, internet connectivity across the board has to change fundamentally and for the better for people to actually think of that as a viable option. Internet connectivity and bandwidth is not uniform across the board at all, and we are in a pretty privileged area of the internet world to be able to play digital, where you find places of people that still want to play video games but maybe have a very metered connection or something like that, like Australia or something like that, where they have a very, very capped internet. Having to download everything is going to eat up their cap in essentially one game, or maybe even half of a game, seeing as how these install sizes are increasing and increasing and increasing. So I think that, yeah, we're going to see hardware for the optical disc one outpace the digital one.
So I should have prefaced, it sounds like your prediction is on a global scale.
Yeah.
I should have said mine was probably more the North American market only. I didn't consider the global sales.
Okay. So we're going off of North America.
Yeah, because those were the more reliable stats that we had from the PS4 sales. Now, they did have global sale numbers.
Yeah.
But I think they had more robust numbers for the North American market, so there's a little bit easier to base a comparison off of.
I think the ratio is going to be closer then, but I still think that the physical edition is going to be still the hot item.
Interesting.
And I would respectfully disagree if past launch, I'll say past launch, because when you mentioned that, I did not factor in the amount of people who excuse me, may be considering their switch to the PS5 and their physical gaming catalog.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And not just the PlayStation faithful, not just the people who are early adopters and going to get this thing, that they stood in line for the PlayStation 2, they stood in line for the PlayStation 3 and 4, and so they're going to stand in line and get theirs. Well, not in line, in digital line.
Yeah.
2020. But to get theirs, and so I didn't factor that in. But I just feel like that price point of $399 is so attractive.
It's a big deal.
It's so attractive.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Oh man, we'll just have to see, and I'm sure that Sony is gonna push out so many metrics after they start selling them. Like, we've sold out of our entire stock of 18 gazillion units in the first week. That kind of thing.
And then you'll see the article turn right around and go, "Hey, Xbox, how many did you sell?" And they're gonna be like, "No comment."
Well, already, there are reports that are already on Walmart's website as we are talking. Walmart, if there's anyone, I guess everyone may know who Walmart is with their conditions and all that kind of stuff. But Walmart is sold out for for online pre-orders. And I believe they had the Drive version only.
Yeah,
They had one
did
or the
not.
other.
They did not have the digital one listed under pre-orders.
They only
Mm.
had the drive version, and that is sold out. As we speak, there are tweets coming out from people who are trying to purchase from Target, saying that Target is also sold out. And then our two other biggest digital retailers are Amazon.com and Best Buy, and they have not put up pre-orders yet. Your girl will be up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Now this makes me wonder actually.
Waiting.
I have to take a step back here because if they're only offering the CD drive first for pre-order, Sony might be pulling a clever one and saying the very first batch that stores get will only be the CD drive, the more expensive one, which in reality, the cost to them between the two might be nearly insignificant. Therefore, they will recoup costs faster at the very beginning and then be comfortable with tapering into the digital edition one.
They might. Who
Well,
knows?
and here's the other thing about the digital edition. Because they're selling through their own online platform, they don't have to worry about whatever, steering people towards digital edition. They don't have to worry about whatever fees that you have to pay to, have your product. I don't know, whatever they have to pay Walmart and GameStop and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
So that is like cut out. And so more of the money will go directly to PlayStation through their PlayStation Store, and hopefully, fingers crossed, to the dev studios, right?
Yeah.
So I think the idea is that the more digital editions that they sell, the more money in general PlayStation is going to make.
That one would think, right? Because you wouldn't have to factor in like all the like physical, actual like creation of any of that. There's no manufacturing cost there.
Yeah, you're just cutting out a lot of costs.
Yeah. And that being said, to move things forward a little bit, PlayStation has announced that all first-party games for next generation are going to be $70. So it seems they did today, right after the showcase. So it seems like $70 is the new standard for games.
I think all things considered, as much as we dislike it, it's probably appropriate given the times.
Yeah. And let me ask you guys this question right quick. When given the opportunity to buy a more expensive version of a game currently versus like the $60 base version, how often have you scaled up your purchase to the next level of 70 or 80 or 90 or $120 in some cases?
Almost never, because they're usually only skins and meaningless trinkets as far as gameplay goes.
What about you guys?
For me, it honestly depends on. I will say more often than I expected, but not a lot. I think I maybe scaled up for Final Fantasy Remake, Borderlands to get the season pass edition.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost in Tsushima, but that was and maybe like a couple of did Cuphead come with the soundtrack with it?
I don't know. That was
never
I don't.
That was like a
That was on
Microsoft
PC.
thing when it started.
Yeah, that was a PC thing. But I'm thinking across all of the games that I've purchased during this generation everywhere. And I want to say, like, I know Cuphead was one, but I don't know if I purchased the soundtrack separately or if there's a bundled edition. But I know I did get the soundtrack for it.
Yeah.
So if there's some kind of musical incentive, or if it's a studio that I want to give an extra dollar to,
Mm-hmm.
I have done it.
Yeah. And
So, I mean, I think if 70 is the new threshold moving forward, we're really talking about 70 for base game.
yeah,
And considering all the extra technology that's now currently present in games as opposed to a decade ago when they were still $60, I think the price hike is justified because part of that's going to distribute to the higher overhead costs of employees that make games now as opposed to a decade ago. But there are games that I still wholly disagree with being $70 still, and one of those is freaking 2K basketball and football games that are just
Yeah.
reskins of previous years. And
Mhm.
also, whenever a game comes out as announced to be a game as a service,
Oh yeah.
because pretty much all of those in this past year, I want to say all, let's just put the vast majority of them have pretty much sort of been flop deliveries on the
I could
premise
say
that it will
all.
be good.
yeah,
I'll
I'll
leave
say
some
I'd
room
say
for, I'll leave
all.
a little margin. I'm just going to leave it a little margin. So nearly all games that have said they're going to be, a service at launch have been essentially a failure. They've not been worth the upfront cost that they initially were, but grew
Amen.
into the cost. And I think that's a
Barely.
terrible way to purchase a game. And now that it's going
Yep.
to hike the price, any game that announces it's going to be a game as a service, I would almost probably never buy on a pre-order. Wait to see if
Oh
it's
yeah.
broke or not, and
Which it will be.
then justify whether or not I can put towards the $70. Because if you're going to increase $10 across the board, if you think about how many people buy games throughout the calendar year, that's now going to be for a lot of people a significant deeper investment of an extra $10, an extra $10, an extra $10. It
yeah,
all adds up to basically another game's worth that you would not have otherwise purchased. So I think, I don't know, it's going to be a very treacherous water, but since a couple of the big players are already doing it and they're just like F everything else, I think it's definitely going to become the norm. But if they do this game as a service garbage and flop as bad as games like them did, then it's going to bite them and they're not going to do well. So it's a double-edged sword that they have to tread over very thin ice.
yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of games that have released as games as service have either been, how do I want to put this? Very few have actually come out at standard $60 price. Quite a few games, and I'm thinking about all games in total, not just games as a service games that have come out on, say, like PlayStation or Xbox, but I'm thinking like of all the Steam catalog stuff and all of that.
Yeah.
Many have come under the standard $60 price, and there are quite a few of them that are headlining at free. Like Destiny 2, the base game is free. Didn't start out that way, but it is now. Fortnite as games as a service, the Battle Royale version is absolutely free. So they have precedent for not having to pay standard 60 and now standard 70 and inevitably make things work. But I can't see games as a service going forward at a $70 upfront cost without them really, really delivering, at least on my end. I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah, I can't think of a in my post Anthem life, I can't think of a single um game as service, a gas game that I have. Nope. No, I was about to lie. I take that back because technically Marvel's Avengers is a game as a service game, and I did pre-order that. Um, I honestly think that the campaign as I continue to progress through it, I'm tempted to say that the campaign is full enough that it justifies the price.
Okay.
We'll check in with that though. I'm not finished. So
Okay.
we'll see about that. But right now, the feelings that I have for it, jaded old hearted me might think that. But yeah, I'm 100% with you. I just don't know why no one can execute on the promises of a game as a service model. I don't know what model tinkering is being done to make it an unachievable dream. Like I don't understand why it's so difficult to create a complete base game and then have additional things added to it, because you did it like 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
You had a complete base game and then you had DLC for it. To me, it's the same damn thing. Excuse my passion. But I'm not a game developer. I do not know what's going on behind the scenes. So,
Yeah.
hands up shrugging, but no one has delivered on the promise yet. I eagerly await for someone to do it though.
Yeah, definitely. But we have diverged quite a bit from our original topic.
Oh yeah. Well, the hate flows.
Do we want to keep it on games and talk about the games that we saw on this showcase?
Yeah, I think we pretty
Not
much
really.
driven home the consoles. So there you have it, folks.
No,
$3.99 digital,
no,
$4.99.
no,
We've already deviated.
No.
What else could we say?
No, hold on.
No, because no. I just wanted to talk about something that I did not expect to feel at the end of this. And maybe I was hungry. Maybe I was a little hangry at the end of this. But I walked away thinking to myself that Xbox users may have the better end of the deal
How so?
in terms of this next generation.
Because of why? Because of Game Pass?
No, not necessarily because of Game Pass. I do think Game Pass is a really good bargain. But the first part, like, in my opinion, the only like Nintendo has, I don't want to say, when I say I'm going to say better first party, I don't mean in terms of games. I just mean in terms of like just longevity.
Yeah.
But nobody has a better first party like lineup than Sony right now.
Yeah.
But I just mean in terms of hardware, and gosh darn it, I'm still mad about only having that 850 or 825 drive and no way to expand it without opening up my case.
Do you
I
want
didn't think that I would.
It's double my hard drive space right now.
Do you want like
Yeah, but you're not getting the digital edition, are you?
Yeah.
You are?
Oh, you are?
Why not?
I didn't I thought you were going to go for the Blu-ray version.
I
But you
thought
have
so
all the
too.
games.
But I only have like 2 physical PS4 games. The games I wanted to play were back from the PS3. This is not going to play
Oh.
PS3,
I
so I have
see, I
absolutely no
see.
reason, now that we know their backwards compatibility only goes as far as to some of the PS4 titles, then there's literally no
Oh.
point in me getting the CD drive version.
Yes. Meet me in the
Okay.
digital realm. Yes.
Join
And
us.
like Scorch says, I think me also, Battlefield, I'm pretty sure, I can go check my bag, is the only PS4 physical game I own, because again, it came with my PS4 that I bought.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the others were digital.
Wow. Okay. So are we all getting the digital version then?
We're all getting it if we can.
Yeah, that's
We
true.
will all be getting the
I was about to
digital
say,
version.
if the stores are not barren.
Well, I'm literally thinking like, how many am I going to have to buy tomorrow? But that's another conversation.
How many am I gonna have to buy? Wow. Okay.
Well, I mean, we're an hour ahead of Arcadius.
You're tempted to buy an extra one for him?
I mean, yeah.
Seems a little excessive.
I have a gift card.
Yeah, but the gift card's for you.
Must be one mighty gift card.
It's not like I'm not going to say. It's not like I'm going to say Arcadius never pay me back. Now, come on, I'm not that nice. No, but anyway, that's another conversation.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, but no, that's the thing. Like, at launch, you have, and I know specs, whatever, specs, but you have technically better specs, a larger drive, and the ability to, on your own, simply slot in extra space.
Yeah.
For the same, that seems like a good deal to me. It's not a deal.
Do we
I'm
actually
take,
know
like
what the capabilities of the expansion space of the PS5 is? Have they definitively said no expandability possible?
I don't know.
Because if they haven't, they're still holding that in their back pocket.
No, they have. I saw an article somewhere where they said that you can. Hold on. They listed the manufacturers who make storage drives that are compatible with the PS5. So you will be able to have, like a memory stick.
Isn't it Seagate?
Well, there you go.
Didn't Seagate partner with Sony for that?
Pretty sure.
No, Seagate partnered with Xbox, and they're the ones who made like that little like plug and play drive. Like you can just stick it in there, literally.
Yeah.
Like.
But remember, that plug and play drive looks very proprietary, and we don't know how proprietary the PlayStation one is, if at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing about the PlayStation is I'm going to have to remove things to upgrade it. I personally don't want to do that. Like, this is a very me thing.
I think that's a trade-off, because for a little bit of extra hassle, you could get a very steep cut in the cost that it takes to do that.
You just don't know my bad luck when it comes to doing things like that. Like, literally, the second I put I'll have my space all cleaned out. I'll have my screwdriver in hand. The second, like, I put my screwdriver into the screw, like, I'll be struck by lightning.
Well,
like, that's the kind of luck I have with this. You think I'm kidding, but as many computers as I've like opened up and had to do stuff with, and like did something wrong, like there's a reason I don't want to build my own PC, because I'm all thumbs. Something's going to go wrong, and I'm going to end up dying. It's going to be a freak accident.
You're going to end up dying. Man, that's extreme.
It's good.
Little extreme.
Look.
Went to replace hard drive, died.
Yeah.
You don't know my luck.
That
I
escalated
really
quickly.
don't. Oh man. Anyway,
all right, now I'm done.
Games, you guys, games that we saw. Did you guys like Final Fantasy 16? What you saw? Because I'm just gonna go down the list.
I have interest because I did enjoy 15.
Okay.
What's that mean?
Wait.
Yes and no.
I'm gonna back up the video so that we can talk about stuff as it's showing. So y'all continue.
Okay. So Final Fantasy 16, I was the cinematics, as always, excellent. Character designs and models, amazing. The combat system, because I enjoyed Kingdom Hearts active combat system, and I enjoyed Final Fantasy 15. I looked forward to that. It looked really cool. I liked the inference that we have of how they may be working the what do they call them? The icon system in the game, where like your character was protecting himself or punching with a fist, and it kind of looked like the fist of the giant giant that was fighting Shiva in the cinematics, and it looked like he sometimes his sword swipe upward would release a phoenix feather, like a giant phoenix plume, and so maybe that's the phoenix icon. So it looks like there's some like gameplay interactions right there, and maybe you'll be able to summon them. So I like summons. That looked really cool. I could already tell that this game is not going to be as linguistically rich as Final Fantasy 12. And that was a little disappointing. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
That's a really hard one to top.
You're always going to be chasing that linguistic dragon that is Final Fantasy 12.
That game with the localization and script for that game was so good. It was set a bar.
But that's what makes it memorable.
Yeah, this one didn't seem like I was going to reach that bar.
Well, we haven't played it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can kind of tell.
We haven't played it yet.
We'll withhold judgment.
Play first, judge later.
I think the only other thing I could say is this one felt, at least from what we've seen, and this wasn't a lot, it feels a little bit too medieval for me.
Really?
That's me. But I really liked everything that I saw. Like, I'm excited for it.
It looks cool.
Yeah. So that's why I say yes and no.
Yeah. As somebody who has had their Final Fantasy interest incredibly decrease after Final Fantasy 15 with the emo car boys, I might think about playing this one. I don't know. It looks cool. I'll have to see more about it. And I don't think
this is only like the first look.
Yeah.
There's going to be more.
And this is not going to be like an active interest for me either to like, I wonder what Final Fantasy is doing today. Tekka, 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 tekka. I'm not interested in that really.
I'm so glad that you said that though. Well, I'm glad that you said that though, because I'm going to tekka over real quick. Because after the PlayStation showcase, there was a blog post that talked a little bit about it, and it announced like the games producer or the games creative director is the same person who has been over Final Fantasy 14.
Okay.
Which has been incredibly successful.
Yeah.
For Square Enix. And has had some really cool and engaging storytelling. So I think that narratively, it's going to be pretty good. It's going to be pretty good.
As long as it is more comprehensible than any Kingdom Hearts storyline, they're gonna knock it out of the park. And that's not hard to do.
Like that bar. Yeah, I was gonna say that bar is so low. This Final Fantasy game can trip over that bar because that game makes no sense, and I love it. That's part of the reason why I love it so much. Don't explain. I mean, explain it to me because I really have no idea what's going on. But also, don't explain it to me.
Hey, you and me and Monsoon sit down with a thing of whiskey, and she explains it for like 8 hours. I'm down to do that if you really want to.
I don't know if my body's ready for that.
It's anyone's. No, but yeah, it was exciting news, and it also made me wonder because you remember at the end of Final Fantasy 15, they released that multiplayer patch with it.
Yeah. That was almost like a separate game.
Yeah, it really, really was. And it was, I actually enjoyed it the couple of times that we went in and played.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, of course, it could have been stronger, but just the ability to play Final Fantasy in that active combat with friends was fun for me.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if that was like a test ground for whatever the next Final Fantasy multiplayer, like MMO, what they were going for, or was that like a test ground for Final Fantasy 16 having a multiplayer part that isn't,
I
completely
mean, it
separate?
could have been. I believe
I'm
it.
just wondering.
If they said
speculating.
it was a test ground, I'd be like, I believe you.
Yeah.
Just speculating, just wondering. So it just makes me really curious, and I hope I didn't sound like I was disappointed with the Final Fantasy 16 thing or announcement, because I was super excited about it. I just, I just have to tell
Well,
myself
when you
that
compare a
they're
Final
not going to
Fantasy
speak.
to a Cadillac Legacy Final Fantasy, I mean,
Look,
it's not quite an apples to apples comparison
I know
because they're all different.
they're
They all have their own
different.
stories, their own
They
uniqueness,
do, but
Yeah.
their own
the
experimentations.
of Nabutis. It's just that, like, it's just so fun to say those things together. You know what I mean? Anyway, let me stop.
Yeah. You never know. They might have a couple clever ones in there just for you.
Yeah.
I hope so.
You might start playing the game and be like, well, I don't know. And then they're going to throw out a line of a place in a deep, dark hole somewhere. And you're going to be like, oh, it's better.
I know that bit of lore. Yes. So,
you never know.
What was next on the list?
Spider-Man Miles Morales. That is next on the
Mhm.
list. And Vast,
Spider-Man.
take it away. This is in your wheelhouse.
I was very excited again that my Final Fantasy high rolled on over to Miles, who is my son. And I thought it was I think they did a lot of really cool things there. They announced that you're going to be, I guess, mainly playing in a new section of New York City. You're going to be primarily in Harlem and probably some places in the city in Manhattan, but you're going to mainly be in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
They let you know what was going on with Miles' family in like the year after his, the events of Spider-Man 4, and spoilers, I guess, when his dad died, and that has his hero journey, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
It looks good. His moves were familiar enough that I know I'm going to be able to go in there and kick ass, but also like distinguished enough so yes, they're Miles's own move set. So that was exciting, and I'm ready to play it.
Cool.
On the PS5.
So, can I just have a quick aside and talk about how people really need to stop putting together gameplay previews of superheroes destroying bridges?
Oh my god!
Oh, okay.
I thought the
So
same
you
thing.
you literally
I thought the
pulled
same
it right
thing.
out of my head. I was like, could we have a scenario of life-saving events happen somewhere that isn't on the goddamn Golden Gate Bridge or one that looks like it? Or
Yeah.
just a bridge, like you just said, a bridge. I was like, okay, Marvel just got done wrecking a bridge for their intro. Now Spider-Man's gonna wreck a bridge for his intro. And before that, they had wrecking bridges for intros. Like, enough of the bridges. Leave the bridges alone.
Yeah. But
Leave the bridges alone.
Leave the bridges alone.
like these trailers and stuff were put together far in advance, so they were probably all working independently in tandem and all that. But like, seriously, the bridge motif.
What did bridges do? Bridge didn't do nothing to you. It's
Listen,
always the bridge.
like,
Always. Let's pick the little the dangly weak thing over there so we can have big explosions, rip it apart and throw it in the river.
This
Like-
is the same feeling as E3 2017 Zombie Bear. You know what I mean? Like everyone has one.
Yeah, there was always a bear. Yeah.
Oh my god. Ugh. You know what? The only thing they didn't have was Miles getting tackled by a zombie bear on the bridge. That was the only thing they didn't have
Yeah.
to bring all this full circle again.
Let's speak this into existence because I kind of want to see it now.
Is there? I mean, there probably is. Spider-Man is such a long-lived superhero, but is there a zombie bear villain that Spider-Man can fight?
Maybe not a villain, but there has to be a instance he fought a zombie bear at some point, somewhere in that comic.
I'm sure maybe he was hanging out with Blade. Like that.
That'll
They
do
got
it.
funny zombie bears.
Yeah.
That'd do it.
Well,
So yeah,
Yeah.
super tired of seeing that, but that looks like it would be pretty fun. I never played the last Spider-Man, but I might this one if it's going to be one of the only games on the new generation coming out.
Wait a minute. Back that up. I know that I knew this, but
Somebody's
it
in trouble.
apparently slipped my mind. You never played the Spider-Man game?
No. I watched y'all play it.
Arcadius, why not? It's so good.
Remember, both of you reviewed it because I didn't play it.
Yeah,
We
that's why we
had
did do a
the
take two for that. We need
reviews.
to get back on that.
We had the reviews in the pipeline before you decided to base your purchase off of it, I think.
I think so.
Because, like,
When was that?
Vast
Because if
wanted
that was
to do-
before I had to move, then that's definitely why I didn't play it.
Vast wanted to
That could be
review
it.
the game, like, regardless of what any of us were going to do anyway.
Correct. But when last year did that happen?
It wasn't even last year.
Are you sure it wasn't?
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out in, was it 2017 or 2018?
Yes.
God, my job wrecked my entire sense of timeline.
Yeah, dude. I don't remember.
I don't either. But it was my game of the year, and you guys voted for God of War, so it came out that year.
Oh yeah, that was
Okay.
definitely more appropriate.
Oh well, shall we move on? Do we want to keep
Let's keep going.
striking old wounds? All right. The Harry Potter game that doesn't have Harry Potter in it. What are they calling it?
Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah. It's, The Sims go to Hogwarts.
You're not a wizard yet, Harry.
You won't be for
So
another
it-
200 years.
You don't exist,
It
Harry.
literally, it literally looks like the game that Harry Potter fans have been waiting for a very, very, very long time, which is like a more open world experience where you get to actually be a wizard at Hogwarts instead of reliving Harry Potter's
Or
adventures and all that
Tied
kind of
down
stuff.
by already determined storylines and plots that you're just going to be going through the motions for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to be playing it. I'm not going to encourage anyone
No.
to play it.
No.
The author is dead.
The farthest
Um,
that I the farthest I go for anything Hogwarts is just watching the movies, and I'm satisfied. That's it.
It's like
Yep.
I am not interested in this game at all, but my interest meter would be in the negatives if I had to like constantly go to class and shit like, oh no, I'm late for potions, and then you have to like hurry through the fucking halls to get to the potions class. That would be the most annoying shit in existence.
I feel like that's going to be a part of it.
It
Well, that's just because you dislike
probably
school
would.
tropes.
Yeah, I don't really like school tropes.
You pretty much hate school tropes, so this is kind of already rubbing against
It's
the
because
grain
I
for
hate
you.
school.
Well, hold on. Let's take a step back really quick, though, because I mean, all of that may be true. But
It is true.
don't you watch that one cooking anime? Is he not in a cooking school?
Yeah, but see, here's the deal: cooking.
Mm.
Dude,
Okay.
That tropes everything.
Okay.
Trumps everything.
Okay.
I haven't watched.
It can also trope everything.
It kind of does actually, but yeah, I haven't finished the latest season or anything like that. That was
Either.
right.
Haven't even started it.
That was right at my burnout. So,
Mm-hmm.
but anyway,
It was
It
right
hit
before
you
my
too.
move.
yeah.
It hit you too.
Disc.
I think we said everything for Hogwarts Legacy.
Spider-Man. And
Yep.
Yep. That one and that one.
Yeah, we had so little to say about Hogwarts Legacy that Arcadius forgot he talked about it.
Yep. Already lost. Didn't
So,
matter. Moving
the-
on.
The next on the list is Call of Duty Black Ops, whatever.
Cold War?
Yeah, Cold War.
Yeah.
With CG Reagan.
It was a little weird to look at. Not gonna lie.
I'm still just kind of side eyeing that, but you know.
So, ignoring CG Reagan, what bothered me was the fact that they opened the scene with an M16 and attachments that weren't period correct.
Yeah,
and that threw me off.
It's an M4 in 1981, and they've got like hollow sights and stuff.
Not just a hollow sight, like a decked one. The kind that you'd see nowadays, not
Yeah.
back in the 80s. Even if they were special forces in the 80s, they didn't have that stuff for them. Yeah. Anyways, ignoring that tiny little detail, I'm still of the opinion that Call of Duty has some of the most entertaining and cinematographic campaigns for military shoot FPSs.
Yeah. At this
I think
point,
that will maintain
for me, that's
my
the
opinion.
only reason to ever play a Call of Duty for me at this point is the campaign.
Is a campaign.
And
Yeah, it's going to be spectacular. You're going to do crazy stuff.
oh yeah,
It's going to surprise you, and it's going to have good twists, and the multiplayer is going to blow. That's just how it's going to work.
It's like playing through a Mission Impossible movie sometimes with Call of Duty.
Yes.
Like, I guarantee you, like, when they show like this airport scene and they've got the plane that's about to take off and stuff like that, there's gonna be a sequence, not this one, but there's going to be a sequence where you like jump out of an airplane while you're fighting a guy and you have to fight over one parachute as you're like flying through the sky or falling through the sky, and you've got to like wrestle it out of the guy. Yeah, exactly.
With a knife. Don't forget the knife.
Yeah.
You gotta throw that knife while you're skydiving. It's gonna scoot across the air at 100 miles an hour and nail that dude right in the spleen.
Yeah, it is. And he's gonna instantly die from that.
Spleen shot.
Yeah. So,
but it's gonna look good. Their games, their campaigns are always so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's basically the antithesis of Battlefield. So if you're listening, DICE, it's about that time to come out with another good Battlefield.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's a lot to ask for, I understand, but god dang, they need to get their act together and realize, throw the campaign away, don't even bother, and just focus on the multiplayer.
Just do it.
So, Vass, what are your opinions of Call of Duty CG Reagan War Crimes Machine?
Man, when you put it like that like basically sums up my thoughts. I am super curious as to how the studio is going to retell this story. Because historically it didn't really end well.
No.
I mean, it was fine for Reagan, but it didn't really end well. So I'm really curious about what they're going to do. I'm also kind of curious as to why CG Robert Redford / Brad Pitt is in the game.
Rad Pitt.
I don't.
Rad Pitt.
Why Brad Pitt is in the game? Like, I have just so many questions. I am also like, why are you making this game? And I'm sure that the answer will be in the narrative, in the campaign, but I don't know if I'm ready for the answer. It's like, it's just weird. It just feels so weird.
Does Black Ops have an ongoing like narrative thread like Assassin's Creed's used to have?
I think they're pretty much fragmented.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
I mean, they've already jumped time periods and stuff as far as Black Ops goes. I don't think
true.
there's any sort of tie.
They had a future Black Ops, didn't they?
Yeah, they had a future one, and they had a World War, II zombie Germans one, because I played that one. So yeah, they've been all over the place in terms of timeline. So there's no connection. Yeah. It's a little standalone.
While this guy is still on the screen, can we talk about how this dude's neck is wider than his head? Like,
I don't know about wider, but he's very column-esque.
Quite the Ionic character.
Yes. Let's just say he is grounded.
Yes, sturdy.
Stout.
Are we done with this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done here. We're done with this one.
Well, I don't know what the next one is because they keep showing me shapes in this.
Oh my god, the amount of geometry in this video.
Yeah,
freaking
really.
lines, bling, 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 swoosh. Like, could you just show the next thing? Whoosh, womp, womp, bling, 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 bling.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, the next on the official list was Resident Evil Village.
Yeah, Resident
it's a
Evil
Resident
8
Evil.
Village. It's gonna be fun watching other people play.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not really.
Actually, not even that. I've just never been a Resident Evil fan.
Yeah, me neither. I never got into it when it was like the new thing.
So let me ask you guys this, because I can't tell from what they've been showing. Is
Yes.
Resident Evil, is this game just Umbrella Zombies, or does it look like there's like werewolves and stuff?
Oh, it looks like it's borrowing from folklore.
I was about to say if it's got castles and cringy villages with old ladies wearing like voodoo crap all over themselves, I'm pretty sure there is going to be a variety, like Scorch said, of the folklore type of zombies.
Yeah.
Because remember,
Okay.
the lady kind of alluded to like they, meaning plurality, and not just the plurality of just human zombies, but of just the dark arts, or
Yeah.
that from the other side, if you will, based on all
She-
of the glyphs and floor writings and all
She
that
alluded
conjuring
to
stuff.
it, by the way, in the Tim Burton style cutaway adventure that they also had inside the trailer. What the hell was that all about?
Just
That was
it's just something to fudge with your mind.
I felt like that was somebody who had an idea and an animation style, and whatever studio put together like the Tim Burton things, like, or the Coralines and the stop motion stuff, said we're not ready for you, so they came to this studio and like, okay, we can use it. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
they had a dream, and that dream is going to live.
We need a little girl running across a really big thorny vine. Oh yeah, we have that in stock.
And there it was.
It was indeed.
Yeah, but it looks cool. I hope that is successful. I actually like seeing Capcom having this little renaissance of games right now.
They've got quite a series of games that they're banking on right now. Devil May Cry, Monster Hunter, that other one that we just were talking about for 3 minutes, Resident Evil.
Resident Evil. Yep.
Y'all want to move
Let
on
us
to
not
Deathloop?
forget. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I don't know what to think about this game anymore.
So
I don't
I
either.
still think it's the most stylish thing that is coming next year. Which, by the way, I don't know if we ever talked about, but the Arcane Leon did announce that they are delaying this game to 2021.
Yeah.
So I think for me, this game and its intended repetitiveness with someone trying to troll hunt you the whole time is kind of a turnoff to me. But then again, I don't know enough about the game to know how precisely it works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
don't know.
this view of it that we received was the most that we had in terms of this might be your gameplay loop.
Yeah.
Where you knew that you had to go and assassinate all these different people, like 8 different people from the last one, but this is where they say, and here's how you can do it. You can follow these people. I'm assuming you can follow these people around kind of Hitman-esque. You can do different things to get them in same locations, to bring them all together, and try and stop the death loop while this second person is, trying to stop you.
Yeah.
So
Or
can she
maybe,
sabotage
like,
the things that you do? I don't know.
Maybe like there's a couple different arcs. So like one arc is a compilation of a couple people, and you have to navigate that arc of the varying stories to accomplish a certain kill list. And once you've killed all those people, you complete the arc and you sort of go to another arc set. Because if what was shown was the entire game, that's lame. Even if they've got a lot of ways to do it. Like, to me, if they broke it up and you have a couple instances, because think about it, you're going to be replaying almost nearly the same thing over and over and over, trying to figure out the best possible way or a more convenient possible way, but you're still playing and replaying the same thing.
Yeah.
And if that's all, if you just play one scenario with one set of people in terms of the overall pathway of the story, that to me is not worth whatever they're going to charge for that game. They'd have to have multiple sets of that to make it a full game.
Especially since it's timed, because he keeps on mentioning there's a certain amount of time that you have to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him saying that, it makes this game a non-starter for me, no matter how cool it looks, because
Anxiety inducing.
like if you've got 24 in-game hours to kill 8 people, and they like have the timer going, and it's not just like a narrative beat, it's actually counting down, then I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah. Too much.
Yep.
I don't need to be stressed to play a game. I play games for relax and enjoyment. I don't
Yeah.
need something else timing me.
But this
Yep.
game
So
is
we-
super 70s though, and I really want this guy to be able to block bullets with his sideburns.
Maybe it's a passive perk.
That was the heyday of sideburns, and
Amen. Show you
Could they
right.
call it Shields of the King, like Elfris?
But
Oh my
still,
goodness.
it's a really stylish game. I'm looking forward to more information about it. But I
Mhm.
already knew last round that it was something I'm not gonna play it myself.
yeah,
But I would like to see other people play it. I think it would be cool. Like once you master the timing and everything like that,
yeah,
with the gun and gameplay, it looks like it's cool.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
but the
see
premise
what
of the thing
reviews
is
say.
off-putting.
I'm gonna see about the mechanics and all of that, and if it's something that, again, like with the timeline, if you have a time limit, I'm done. But if it's like a narrative beat, I'm okay with that. Like if it's not actually a problem.
What if
Yeah.
they mix it?
But if it's an actual,
What if they
time,
have
yeah.
a narrative arched by segments of timed stuff?
I'm out.
Okay.
Oh, and last question: what if there's a mode where you can play without the timer?
That would be cool. But then
Okay.
I'm worried that you're playing science.
That almost defeats what the
science
game looks like it's
fiction.
supposed to be.
Yeah, you'd essentially then be playing 1970s science fiction Far Cry at that point.
Yeah, I think it's going to be timed no matter what.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, next on the list, if we want to move on, do we want to move on?
Let's go.
Do it.
Is
Let's
the enhanced version of Devil May Cry 5?
Yeah.
Eh.
So that's a meh. I haven't played it because I know that I am not good. But seeing that you can play Virgil in this game mode got me a little bit excited. He's not my favorite of the twins, but as someone who just enjoys the Devil May Cry swag and characters and gameplay, I think that's really exciting. So for the people who want to play as Virgil, I think it's really cool.
Yeah. From the people that like Devil May Cry, they really liked the 5th one. So I'm happy to see it move on, I guess.
Yep. I'm right. The digital, it's available at launch.
Mhm.
And so if I get my hands on a PS5, I might try it out. We'll see.
Yeah, it's available at launch digitally, by the way. It doesn't seem like it's going to be stocked anywhere.
Okay.
Well, next on the list is Oddworld. Do we have anything to say about that?
I don't.
The cinematics look cool. I'm not going to be playing this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the side scroller one, right?
Yeah. With
Yeah,
like,
I can't get into that game type. It's just not me.
All of your brethren getting murdered horribly behind
Constantly around you and
Oh.
around you. Go that way, guys. Spike roller.
you.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't do it. Can't do it.
I'm surprised at this game's longevity, because I don't think they came out with a game in the PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 3 era. Like, it was a PlayStation 1 game that I was kind of interested in, and then they had like a one-off Oddworld game where you played like some kind of tiger in a desert world, and it was 3D open world, and I was kind of interested in that one. And then they went quiet, and then came back with PlayStation 4 with a remake of Abe's Odyssey, which was like the second one in the series or something like that. But evidently it was enough to propel them to make more Oddworlds, and here we are.
Well, more power to them for being a studio and a franchise with longevity, or that was able to come back. I hope that it does well.
Yeah.
Because that's hard. Like, that is very hard these days, and it does look really good. It is just not a game for me.
Yeah, definitely.
At all. You're telling me I have to save these people, but they're all going to die? No, can't do it. Can't do it. I would feel too
Not
guilty.
just die in horrible ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
This will probably appeal to the Cuphead crowd, honestly.
Or people that used to play Oddworld.
Or those two.
Or,
I'm just going by type of game.
Yeah.
Or Dark Souls.
Or Dark Souls. Side-scrolling Dark Souls? That sounds awful.
Yeah.
So next on our list...
What's next?
...is Five Nights at Freddy's. Whatever. And can I just say that somebody really, really upped the budget for this guy to make this game.
So what's the story behind, like, really quickly, Five Nights at Freddy's? Because I didn't know what it was until, like, the third room that you kind of back into, like the camera is going slowly panning backwards.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that it was something vaguely Chuck E. Cheese-like, I was like, oh, I think that's Five Nights at Freddy's.
So,
but I had known nothing about this franchise.
The basic idea of Five Nights is that, at least in the first one, I'm going to go off for the first one, that you have been hired as an overnight security guard at a Chuck E. Cheese knockoff called, like, Freddy Fazbear's something. And you have to manage resources like air and electricity.
Air?
Yeah, by, like, turning on and off the vents in your security room and, like, switching through security cameras and, like, opening and closing doors and lights and stuff so that you don't get absolutely eaten by all of the crazy mechanical contraption guys that live and are sentient inside the Chuck E. Cheese knockoff.
That just sounds horrifying. Okay.
Creepy.
I'm not going to play it. I'm
Yeah.
glad the budget looks better. It looked creepy as hell. Halloween is coming.
It reminded
but
me
that's probably going to...
of BioShock a little bit, like the way that they had everything set up in this particular trailer. It still is not going to make me purchase a Five Nights at Freddy's game. I'm going to watch other people play it and laugh as they scream.
You probably hear me screaming in the background.
From a state away.
All right, what's next on the list?
The Demon Souls remake. We're seeing a little bit of gameplay of it now, and it's a little bit longer.
I like how
we'll
it
have time to
looked.
vamp. Yeah, it looks
I really liked
great.
how it looked. And they kept the motion smooth, and you can tell they're getting into that ray tracing, because you're starting to see little bits of it. I mean, they hadn't come out right and, like, used a whole bunch of time saying that they're using ray tracing, but we know that this newer generation of console, with all of its capabilities, is going to be able to start treading into that.
Yeah,
and it's showing. You can see it. It's looking pretty good.
I don't know if this is built off of old architecture, though. The way that it looks makes me think that it's not, and that it's a complete rebuild.
Well, there are ways to take old architecture and apply some of those new rendering tools and give it a pseudo appearance of some of the tracing, even though it might not be 100%. But regardless, it's up there in terms of looking a whole lot better.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much what I'm commenting on.
I mean, it looks great.
It definitely looks better.
Yeah. This is another one of those games that I will not play because, boy, I'm not that much of a masochist that wants to
Yeah,
play
I can't
Souls
play a
games.
Souls game. Nope. We'll watch. Will not play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we still have
Next.
gameplay of it rolling, and I don't know what is next on the list. I think they might be talking about next on the list the PlayStation Plus collection. I think that might be the thing that they talk about next.
Yeah, they pretty much roll through the big, the large titles that were very successful for PlayStation 4. They're basically going to, I guess, make able to play directly on PS5. I don't think you'll need to repurchase them. It didn't sound like you had to repurchase them. You could just download straight over to PS5 and keep playing.
From the way that they have it worded, it seems like if you have PlayStation Plus, then you have access to these games on your PS5.
Whether or not you bought them as a PS4 title.
It's just like a perk of having PlayStation Plus.
That's a pretty friggin' big deal.
Is having access
those are some
to the
really good
collection.
games.
I mean, some of these people
Those are
that are
some
going to
really
come
good
into the
Yeah.
PS5 world for the first time, and they're going to be able to access those fantastic games that were acclaimed to be some of the best for that console generation.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, that's a big friggin' deal.
It is.
Yeah. And let's talk about it real quick because they had Monster Hunter on there. They had God of War. They had remaster of The Last of Us.
They had Detroit Becoming Human.
Detroit Become Human.
They had Until Dawn. They had Ratchet and Clank.
Mm-hmm.
A few others that I'm sure that will hit when it actually shows up. Or I could scrub through the footage, but I'm kind of taking the lazy approach and just letting it roll through as I'm talking about it.
Oh, you know
It's
what?
fine.
There was something that came in between. We'll get back to this real quick, but they did announce that Fortnite will be available in all of its upscaled graphical glory
Oh,
for
yes.
the next generation.
Well, we knew that was coming. Like, you couldn't not have Fortnite on PlayStation 5.
It's the
Biggest
moneymaker.
thing since sliced bread.
I mean, for some people, and most of those people
For some
are,
people.
you know, middle schoolers
Yeah,
and
but,
high schoolers
I mean-
with their parents' credit cards.
We almost can't do bread that way. Bread tastes so much better than that.
It can.
It's true. Well, I don't know anything about Fortnite's like current season. Are they going to do anything special, like to time with the launch windows of the new generation?
They
You think that's
might.
Hey.
Probably a
Like you?
fancy skin pack or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
All
they just brought up the yellow, all the symbols and stuff for the PlayStation collection. I'm watching all of that crap
The
now.
Criterion connection.
That's what I thought. That's what I was gonna like allude to or reference.
Well,
rather.
I actually enjoy it being called the PlayStation Collection because of that, and it felt a little bougie in compared to like, oh yes, you have your Game Pass over there,
Yeah.
which we have a collection of
Like-
artisanally selected
Game
games
Pass.
for you to play.
Game Pass is the little plastic half a handcuff that they give you at like Six Flags so that you can get back into the park. The collection is the premium experience for the discerning player.
That's the sparkly wristband.
Ugh.
The one that lets you get refill drinks at the slushy bar or something.
Are we gonna have to make that noise that we made for
No,
Xbox?
no,
No, we're
not
not?
right now. No,
Are you sure?
we're not.
Because it's so funny.
We are sure.
What noise
It
are we
really
referring
is.
to?
Oh,
Oh, we're-
Xbox. In high fidelity. Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh.
so should the PS Collection have something else? Should it be like a French laugh? Should it be like a
Ooh,
whole-
PS5.
No, we can't do
No,
PS5 like
no.
that.
You want it
No.
to be French? It's a Japanese company.
Oh
Do you
yeah.
want to have a French
Yeah,
accent?
That's true.
If that's the case, you'd be like, oh, PS5.
I don't know if I would go that far, man.
I couldn't go that far either. I take it back.
Yeah.
Reel it back.
So they've got Batman in there. They have other
The Last
games.
Guardian, Bloodborne,
Days Gone, Mortal Kombat
Persona
10,
Royale.
Persona 5. It's a good
Last
set
of
of
Us.
games, man.
Is this their start? Is this their toe into bringing their PlayStation Now model into PlayStation Plus? Do you think?
I'm not entirely sure. I'm worried a little bit about the way that they're doing this. It makes me wonder if they're going to be locking digital backwards compatibility behind PlayStation Plus.
I mean, I'd believe it. That's an easy paywall to put something like that behind.
Yeah.
Because then it's almost like it's almost like a pseudo subscription that would then subscribe to all the older games of a previous console.
Yeah.
If you sit back and think about it, that's a bargain for people who have not adopted PlayStation yet. Because I would think Sony's pretty sure that for all current adopters of PlayStation, they're going to stay on the train. So they got to do something that appeals to newer or even old Xbox adopters to try and win them over, and saying, hey, all these titles you couldn't previously play while you were on a different console generation, well, if you get this one and you just buy our normal monthly subscription that gives you all these other benefits, you can play them all. I mean, that's a pretty big deal to me.
I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to give you all those games for free. You're going to have to buy those. They're just giving you access to that ability.
Even still, that allows you the chance to go back and be able to enjoy them on the new console with all the new stuff that's coming out.
Yeah. And it's a pretty safe move, even with the collection, I think, because as with all console releases, there's going to be a game drought for a little bit. I mean, games are going to be coming out, but the catalog just isn't there, you know?
And this gives people a time to try out some of those games that, whether they never decided to buy them and now they will, or they're adopting a new console anyways, and so the world is their oyster to go and play all these games that they never played on Xbox.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think it's a pretty good, smooth move on Sony's part.
Yeah.
But I also think that Xbox is taking the approach that they're nailing down a very specific plan with how they want their bundles and packaging and access to be with their setup. And Sony and PlayStation don't quite know what they want yet. And they're going to kind of feel the waters with the current setup and evolve it fluidly moving forward. I think that's going to be a big differentiator between Xbox and PlayStation.
Well, I think Sony's just going to have to hold out and see whether or not the way that Microsoft is going to be doing business this next hardware generation is going to bear any fruit at all. And they're going to have to do some serious market analytics based on like what they're doing and how that's panning out versus the amount of revenue that Microsoft is going to be pulling in with their differentiated strategy. And that is going to be the driving factor of the way things are going to go.
Yep, time will tell.
Yeah.
Time will tell.
That's what you think. You've been quiet for a little bit.
I was thinking, is anyone looking at, are any of these two looking at Google Stadia?
Oh my God. I don't
Probably
know,
not.
dude.
I'm going to go on a limb and say no.
Ugh.
Well, I mean, they have the install base already there. They have the first party already there. They have models in place, although we're saying that Sony will have to update their, if they're not already having something in the works that they're going to announce, next year or 2022, whatever model that they're going to have, or some kind of, I still think they're going to be collapsing PS Now and PlayStation Plus some kind of way.
I mean, that rumor is out there that they're going to be doing that.
And it's just, they just should. In the same way that they just should give me an option to have more hard drive space at launch.
Vass, I think we're gonna have to come to terms.
That
It's just probably not gonna happen.
That whole at launch thing is really the sticking point. You know they're gonna give you like a 2 terabyte version 6 months, or like when they're going to be releasing, like dropping the price on the original units. It's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
I know, but I know, but I still don't, and it's because I'm not a businesswoman, so I don't know I just don't understand from a consumer's perspective, like what they would be losing financially to not give me the option to spend an extra $100 to have a larger hard drive. I don't understand. I just don't get it.
It's market capture. Like, the people that there are definitely people that are waiting past this first generation to buy a larger hard drive PlayStation, and they're going to get those people, and they're also going to be able to squeeze out another unit sold from the same person that's like, I want that. It's going to happen.
But you're not going to get it. But you're not going to get it from people like me.
No.
Who are willing to give it to you on the front end, but not the back end. Which sounds terrible now that I said that out loud. But you know what I mean.
I do.
Zing!
Like, that's just money on the table.
Yeah, it is.
I think they're probably okay with that, because slow and steady wins the race is probably the mantra they're going for.
Yeah.
I guess. We've all been hurt before.
We
I've
have.
said it before, I'll say it again.
Multiple times this console generation, might I add.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. Well, I think that about wraps it up, unless we have something else to add.
No, I was just going to say, I think that was the really... Oh, no! There was one final announcement.
Oh, there was? Oh, yes, there was.
There
How could I
was.
forget? God of War
How-
It begins with an
Ragnarok.
R and ends with the rock.
Ragnarok.
They had
Gonna play it,
two.
gonna
I'm
play it,
surprised
gonna
that you guys
play
didn't do that
it.
before.
They had 2 Kratos lines and a blue Omega. Like, that's all they had.
Yes.
We knew it was coming from the success of the God of War.
Oh yeah, it was guaranteed.
Yeah.
And it's
Guaranteed.
been teased.
So
They've been
like,
teasing it for a while.
I'm
Well,
not
the
like
the
super
end of the
surprised.
last God of War was like, okay, here we go, next one. Like, it was
Yeah.
super obvious.
The ending that you haven't seen, Vast.
Yeah, the super obvious one, the cliffhanger,
Yeah.
the one that would make you excited right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would it though?
Yes.
Would it though?
We'll never know.
Vast.
We'll never know.
Are you at all interested in God of War Ragnarok?
Gonna go with a no on that.
I
Oh, she made such a heavily incredulous sound that she had to cough afterwards. That's
Yeah,
That's where we're
gonna,
at.
Gonna go with a hearty no.
It's- oh, man.
I am. I am.
I love it.
Mm.
I love it, Vast.
Press X for doubt.
But okay, no, all whatever that was aside, I actually really am, because despite everything, the experience that I had playing the very first God of War has stayed with me this entire time.
The very first God of War
And-
that came out for PlayStation 2?
Yes.
Okay.
That experience has stayed with me this entire time. It was such a positive experience that even something that I vehemently opposed with a game like God of War 3, and did not enjoy my 5 minutes of gameplay with that.
Mm-hmm.
I still think of the franchise very, very fondly.
Yeah.
I still enjoy it as a flagship and Sony mascot, and I still think that I'm going to pick it back up. I keep telling myself I'm going to, so as long as I don't let the dream die, it will never die. And I keep saying this, but that Baldur fight at the beginning of the game, still worth the price of admission of that game.
Vast, what if I told you fought Baldur again?
Oh, I kind of figured that you would.
Yeah, you fight Baldur again.
Oh, indeed.
And then, like...
No,
Indeed.
I'm just, hold on. I'm just saying, like, the way that the game built up at that very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
where it was, in a way, like, you weren't expecting that kind of big spectacle
Yeah.
then.
Yeah.
Like, it just completely came out of nowhere. And it was like, oh, yes, I remember this feeling, because in games past, you actually did start with a pretty big bang, you know?
That's true.
So it was like a really good gotcha, and it sucked me in. Unfortunately, I got sucked out, but that's not necessarily God of. Yeah, it kind of is God of War's fault, but I'm sure that if I came back to it, I'd have a good time.
The return to God of War is probably pretty steep. Like, it has its own set of everything. And having to relearn that in the middle of the game would be an undertaking.
Oh, no, I'd start back from the beginning. No, I'd start
Yeah.
back at the beginning.
But then, Vess, you'd be running into the possibility that you drop it exactly in the same place that you dropped it last time.
No. I'd start back from the beginning, and then once I got my timing and stuff back down, I'd be able to pick it up from where I dropped it.
Okay. So it's like, what, like a little training section of the restart, and then just go back to the old save?
Yeah, I do stuff like that with the JRPGs that I haven't played in a while, like with Tales of Vesperia, which I just picked back up on the Switch. I always keep a really early save, like 2 hours in, or maybe right before your first dungeon in.
Yeah.
And then I'll have a second save, which is actually my game progress. And so if I put it down, forget what I'm doing, I'll go back to that previous save, play for an hour or two, then come back.
Okay, that makes sense.
And
it's much more logical than anything I've ever done with that shit.
And I'm like reasonably sure that if there is a save option like that in God of War, then I probably already did that, because that's like almost what I always do. If you give me that save option, I'll have that early save, and then I'll have my gameplay save.
Okay.
Look, I'm a straight OG JRPG person. That's what we did.
Yeah.
That's what we did a long time ago when we still had save cards.
Indeed.
Well, have we ended?
I think
think
we've
so.
exhausted this little trip of a video they finally gave
right.
to us.
Because we're an hour and a half
good
in
cast,
for
guys.
our recording.
Yep.
All right.
Good cast, guys.
Yeah. I think
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
With new high fidelity mics. Oh yes.
Super crisp.
Well,
You really sounded like the Xbox guy. I just want to put that out there.
if only I could nail down world premiere, I think it would be.
Yeah.
Oh,
World premiere.
take his job.
Yeah. Well, this has been a reaction podcast to the PlayStation 5 showcase that had all the prices and stuff in it. We may or may not be on the very eve of pre-orders releasing. If you liked it, subscribe to us. If you didn't like it, well, why are you here? I'm sure you could hear this from a million other people. But we're special, and if you didn't like us, then that's on you. Because we're so likable, you guys. And now we
Especially after that line.
We sound so likable too. So
Like a voice from the sky.
that's it. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.